him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack-a-magob, it's time for the only news that matters on Black Sabbath Sunday. And during an appearance on Funk Nation with Eddie Skunk, Tony Iommi once again spoke about his plans to remix Born Again for future release. Issued in August of '83, Born Again was the only Sabbath recording with lead singer Ian Gillan, best known for his work in Deep Purple. It was also the last of Sabbath studio albums to feature drummer Bill Ward, Mr. Bill Ward. Regarding why it's taken so long for fans to hear a remixed version of Born Again, Iommi said, "Well, eventually we got the tapes, but we couldn't find them for years. We didn't know where they were. So my manager located them in some kind of archives tucked away somewhere in one of those record companies. I don't know how they got them, but they did. And so eventually we got them. And then we had them, and then we were having them transferred because obviously it's tape. And so we're having them transferred so we can have a look at that. And that's sort of the plan as well. I like to do that, and I know Ian would like that to happen as well. And Geezer Butler would as well, I'm sure." Iommi went on to say that a lot of Sabbath fans have rediscovered Born Again in the 4 decades since it was originally released. He said, "Yeah, it's funny. That does happen. And it's the same as Tony Martin era Black Sabbath stuff as well. People didn't know of it at the time, and then it's word of mouth that gets around on the internet, and then they get interested, and eventually they go, oh yeah, it's good." And that's what happened with Born Again a little bit. It's funny how that works. I know we weren't very happy with the sound, but a lot of people accepted the sound, really, like myself. I love the way that album sounds. I think that album went to number 4 on the charts in England at the time. And we tried to stop it, but it was too late by the time we'd heard it. And it just sounded really muffly. It was nothing like when we left before we went on tour. So it would be nice to get it so we can get a better sound out of it, really. There's really are some great songs on that album. There really are. Yeah, I agree with that. Iommi previously discussed his plans for Born Again remix in a June interview with Eddie Skunk. Regarding what kind of changes he expects to be made to Born Again during the remixing process, Iommi said, "Well, when it was originally recorded in the studio, it sounded great. We loved it. But we went on tour, and then someone else, got it, and they made it all muffly. And whether it was from the pressing or what, I don't know. But I like to look at that. I have heard when I played the Born Again album, there's parts where I go, oh, that should have been louder. This should have been more prominent. Drums or whatever it may have been. There's things that really need adjusting on it because there's some really good songs on that album. And it would be nice to give it, an up-to-date quality of what you can do now and be able to listen to it differently because obviously when you're involved with this stuff at the time, you're hearing nothing and then you leave it into somebody else's hands like we did with that. And we went on tour, we came back and heard it, and we went, oh my God, what happened? We don't want that to happen. I want to be able to put the tapes out again and really give it a good listen to see what we need to adjust and change and make it a better sounding album. In November of 2022, Gillan was asked by Spain's Rock FM, if it's true that he broke Born Again when he first got a copy of it, and he responded, I didn't break it. I threw it out the window of my car. Look, I was disappointed. I didn't have the mentality of all the guys in Black Sabbath. I loved it. I had a fantastic year. I still have a cassette at my home of the Monitor mixes of Born Again, and it sounds fantastic. Just on a cassette. And that's the last thing I heard in the recording studio. When I heard the album, I went, what is this? The bass rumble was a bit too much for me. There's a famous line in a famous movie called This Is Spinal Tap that has 2 or 3 references to Black Sabbath in it. And I don't know where they may have come from, but one of them was this album is unplayable on American radio because of the bass end. And so it was unplayable on the radio. I was disappointed in the final production mix. I don't know what happened between the studio and the factory, but something happened. So that was a disappointment. Having said that, I love some of the songs on there. And Trash is one of my favorite rock and roll songs of all time. And even more so because it's a completely true story. Yeah. Well, I will buy this Born Again if it ever gets around to it. Who knows if it will, though? I mean, Tony Iommi's up there in age, man. He's got to get on it now. I mean, you're risking it by taking your time remixing it. Maybe it'll probably be a Steve Wilson thing if, unfortunately, Tony passes away before it gets done. But I'm telling you, I have my doubts I'm going to like a remixed, cleaned up version more. I know most of you, or all of you, listening to me right now, will think, oh yeah, that needs to be cleaned up. Man, I think the way that album sounds, it really does enhance the darkness, the craziness of that album, that I'm fine with it not being fixed. But since I'm such a fanatic of Born Again, it is my favorite Sabbath album after the Ozzy years. Yes, I love the Dio stuff, but Born Again, it's special. It's different. There is no Black Sabbath album like that, man. I mean, you got a song about driving around getting all messed up, which is a true story where Ian Gillan drove Bill Ward's rent-a-car and trashed it. I mean, what an amazing song is Trashed. And then it goes into, Stonehenge, the little instrumental, and man, the little instrumental ends with this heartbeat, and then it goes right into this demonic scream, which I think Disturbing the Priest has the most evil, craziest screams ever caught on tape. And damn, does that song sound like no other. I mean, god damn, that's original, And then you go into the dark, right into the epic Zero the Hero, where I recently heard, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said that Izzy Stradlin did say to him, to this person, that, Paradise City, they ripped off that riff of Zero the Hero. Because it's been speculated all these years, but now Izzy's saying, yeah, it's actually true. And also the beginning of Her Black Wings from Danzig. It's total Zero the Hero. What an awesome tune. And then Digital Bitch. A lot of people don't like Digital Bitch. I absolutely love it. It was said that song's about Sharon Osbourne, because at the time Don Arden was managing Black Sabbath, and Ozzy was managed by Sharon, and Don Arden's Sharon's father, and they had a falling out at the time. But then the band came out and said, no, Digital Bitch is not about Sharon Osbourne. I think maybe they're saying that so they don't get any grief. But maybe not. Maybe they are telling the truth. But I love it. I love Digital Bitch. A lot of people don't. A lot of people say that's the lame song on the album. But no, I don't think so. And I love Born Again. I think Born Again, Ian Gillan is the VIP on that song. Those screams. It's insanity. And then Hotline, a song about phone sex. Hey, what the hell, man? You know? This album is so unique for Black Sabbath stuff. And Keep It Warm, the last track, which I love that song. I used to not like it. It was the one song I didn't like in my youth, but now I absolutely love it. And then there's that bonus track, The Fallen, which I heard years and years before they released it on that deluxe Born Again CD I bought. But, man, The Fallen rules, man. It would be nice if they stick The Fallen on that album. I'm sure it'll fit, you know. But anyway, Born Again, man. I absolutely love it. A lot of people listening to me right now love it as well. And then there's a lot of people that don't. And I feel sorry for you because Born Again brings me so much fucking joy that you will never get from that album. Poor you. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, that's it for the Only News That Matters. I want to thank you all for watching. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't and ring that little notification bell. And leave your comments below. Do you love Born Again? Do you hate Born Again? Are you on the fence of Born Again? Let me know in the comments below because I love reading what people think about Born Again. And like the video because it's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty, listen to Black Sabbath, and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.